Talk about it with Franjez. Today's special guest is the owner of XGolf Scarsdale. Today's guest is Pete Gilmore. Pete, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right, Francisco. How are you?
I'm very well.
It's very impressive setup here.
Well, look who's talking, man. We're in your establishment. This is an impressive setup.
Thank you very much. It took a lot.
I see it. Thanks for hosting us here.
Yeah, my pleasure. I hear you. I checked out some of your stuff. You usually do this at your place, yeah?
Yeah, always at my place. Sometimes I leave.
You don't want me at your place?
Nah, you know you're invited. Part 2. We could do part 2 over there.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
All right, let's start from the beginning. Where were you born?
I was born in New Jersey. I was born in South Amboy, New Jersey. Don't remember much about South Amboy, but grew up a Jersey boy down in Monmouth County.
And when did you come to New York?
I didn't actually get to Westchester until 2013. I bopped around a little bit in my 20s, Chicago, and back to New Jersey. All over New Jersey I lived. Hoboken, did a 17-year stretch in Hoboken.
Wow.
And then I met my wife, and we got married, and we had a kid. And apartment in Hoboken didn't hold up, so we had the typical back and forth about living in New Jersey, or she's from the Bronx, she's from Woodlawn. So we talked about whether we should be in Westchester or New Jersey, and you see who won that argument. Very happy about it, though. We love it in Westchester. It's been fantastic. We're in Mamaroneck. We love the neighborhood. We love the neighbors. We love the school.
Nice.
And yeah, I couldn't be happier than to be in Westchester.
Was the schools one of the main reasons?
That and her mother being around. Yeah. Now her mother's still in Woodlawn. She's got a sister over in Pleasantville in Westchester. So that and also though Mamaroneck specifically for the school system.
Nice. When did golf get into your life?
It's funny because I grew up into sports. I played a lot of sports: football, basketball, baseball. You know, all that stuff as a kid, and I looked at golf as the way a lot of people do, which is it's boring, and it's for non-athletes, and it's for people who can't play real sports.
That's harsh.
Yeah,
I hope nobody heard you.
And it's not that way. I came to realize, as many do who pick up a club, but interestingly enough, too, I worked at a golf course in summers in high school, and I drove around in the golf cart, but I didn't play. And I remember speaking to some of the older folks that worked there, and they said, "Don't you like to play? We love to play golf. You should get into it." And I thought, it's a sport for old men. So didn't get into it until I had always played, but it was the typical way people usually get into golf. You go out, you swing the club as hard as you can, you try to hit the ball as hard and far as you can. But I didn't really start sort of getting the golf bug until my 20s, mid-20s to late 20s, and just kind of took it from there. But love to play golf. I don't know that I've gotten much better since my 20s, but I have a much better appreciation for the game and trying to get better all the time, and met some great people along the way. So,
what was that change in your mid-20s that made you want to take it more serious?
I think because I couldn't keep up with people on the basketball court anymore. Trying to play in men's leagues and realizing that the 18, 19, 20-year-olds they're not only faster and in better shape, right? I'm reluctant to say better, but they're faster and they're in better shape. And they talk a lot of trash. And it just as I started getting older, I started, and the ankles didn't help either. So started focusing on that old man sport golf, Yeah, just like to be active, like the competition and everything, but just couldn't. Basketball was my thing, and did the softball thing also, which is fun. But golf really presents a challenge that I find very, very good for my competitive nature.
Yeah, I see. What religion did you practice coming
up? Raised Catholic.
Catholic.
Baptized, made my confirmation. Typical Irish Catholic family. Although not as big as some might typically say. I got 2 brothers. So we were a family of 5, and church every Sunday. And gotten away from that a little bit, raising my son Catholic. He was christened and he's going to make his confirmation, but probably not going to church as often as I should.
So do you still have a relationship with God even though you don't go to church often?
I do. I like to think I do, anyway. I like to think we're tight, right? He's the good thing about being Christian is you can always be forgiven.
There you go.
You can repent. So, I make many mistakes along the way. I do find, religion's not a huge part of my life, but I do find it comforting to have a relationship with God, and there's times when you need a God.
Absolutely. Who's the first person you think of when you think of success?
Maybe because he's just on my mind lately. He recently passed away, but I'd say my father.
Sorry for your loss.
Oh, thank you. Great man. And when I think success at my age now, it's different than what I would have thought in my teens or 20s or even 30s. My father was a very successful man, just based on he was married, he found the love of his life, he had a family, he raised that family, he went to work every day, he had great social relationships. He worked, I don't know if you knew this, but he was an editor for a long, long time, worked for one company for over 40 years, and, retired and lived down the Jersey Shore. Everything about it is success. But he didn't drive fancy cars, and we didn't grow up in a mansion. He was a working class guy in a union. But when I think success now, I think of the life he lived.
That's beautiful. What type of editing?
Film editing. He started in film editing when television was actually film.
Yeah.
And he worked for NBC television in news, and he moved on from film to videotape. I think he missed the streaming part. He might have been in the end that the transition to HD.
Retiring out there.
But he worked all kinds of hours, different schedules. I remember he went on strike at least once, maybe twice in his career.
Wow.
He went to work painting houses or doing whatever he had to do to walk the picket line. A true Irish Catholic man, God, family, country
Nice.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just a really solid
Human.
solid,
Sounds like a
successful
great
guy.
human being.
Yep.
Yeah. That's success.
Yes, it is.
To be a good human being.
Right.
Good husband, good father.
Yeah, and like I said, he just recently passed away a few months ago, and we had the service, and the people that came out and the things they had to say about him.
Genuinely. Yeah.
Right? Thought he was a great guy.
That's awesome.
Always there for you, right? Honest, hardworking, and that's how I told him. We were fortunate enough, he got sick, and we had a chance to sort of understand his days were numbered. So we did have a chance to say our piece and everything, and I told him, you're a tough act to follow. So.
I bet he appreciated that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. It's good to know. Definitely good to know. As a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
As a kid?
Yeah, as a kid.
Like every kid.
When you were a kid, yeah.
Everything. My earliest memory of what I wanted to be was a Hollywood stuntman. That was when I was really, really young, jumping off of couches and.
It's so funny. I used to want to be the same thing.
Is that right?
I used to want to be a professional wrestler because I used to love WWF.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to be a stuntman.
Yeah. I used to, jump off of things and ride the BMX bikes and do the jump. I mean, nothing like they're doing now on the X Games kind of thing, but. I used to,
It felt like it.
yeah, it did, right? Used to set up a ramp about yay high, jump over paint buckets. Like, if I got over 3, I was like, nobody's beating that record, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, stuntman, and then, like I said, I was into sports, so I'm sure I would have said, baseball player, New York Yankee or the Knicks. But then, after that, sort of, I always had entrepreneurial dreams. I always wanted to own my own business, I used to say.
When did that start?
That was always with me. I would say in high school, even.
Really?
I just kind of looked at things. I didn't necessarily have a career path that I was thinking I wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer. any kind of trade necessarily. I'd always had it in my mind that one thing I do want to do is work for myself. I thought it would be cool. I thought it would be
freedom. You have more freedom,
right?
too, yeah.
Like, I don't want to punch the clock, and I don't want to work to somebody else's schedule and everything else. Of course, I didn't do that, and this is really my first dive into entrepreneurship, and I'm well past 50. So.
Well, what took you so long? Is it fear that held you back?
Yeah, a little bit.
Especially being so driven to be a good father and husband.
Yeah.
You need that stability.
Yes.
And being an entrepreneur, especially beginning entrepreneurship.
Correct.
That's the hard part.
Yeah, doing what I'm doing now at this age, it's I don't want to say risky, but it's not the norm. What held me up is kind of what you were saying towards the later end, but in the beginning, it was more complacency. I went to college, I got the degree, I took a job, that's what took me out to Chicago for a little bit, and then I came back and started working actually in television because I had an in there and I had been doing some summer work in colleges there. And then it just sort of the paycheck was coming in, and I was single, and it was kind of easy, right? Why do I want to do anything else right now? I need some money for beer and
rent.
Rent and to take a girl out here and there, and that was it, right?
Yeah.
So it just it's funny how life kind of just travels past, and the next thing you know, it's, hey, I wanted to start my own business, and I looked into it in my 20s, and I looked into it in my 30s, and when I got into my 40s, like you said, I met my wife. We had a kid. My son just turned 13, so it just seems like there was never the right time, or I never had that idea, or I never had sort of the backing that it would take to step out on your own, right? So here I am.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And in the 20s and 30s and 40s, what were those business ventures? What were you thinking of doing back then?
Oh, I had all kinds of ideas.
Yeah, I bet. I want to hear them because they're usually good.
I can't really think of anything specific. I had always had a dream to build my own brand, to be. I remember admiring Phil Knight from Nike, and he was a runner, and he just came up with a shoe, and then the next thing you know, long story to building Nike, but that kind of thing was, I just need an idea, right? So it was basic stuff at first, t-shirts and hats, and maybe I could do this, and maybe I could do that. I actually thought about doing something with a golf brand back, I think, when I was in my 20s, but never really formulated the full idea or went through the whole business plan. And that's why it just sort of stumbled on and on. Like, it would be great to be your own boss. It would be great to have your own company, but what is it you're going to do, right? I didn't have that big idea. I should have got into computers.
Yeah. Computers will always be around. That's what I tell my daughter. It's like, get into tech or something.
Right.
Tech's always going to be advancing. It's always going to be around.
Yeah, I mean, I remember in high school, we took like a computer coding class, and at that time it was, I think, MS-DOS or something, And, I didn't take it seriously. I thought it was kind of like, I don't know that I was saying, this stuff will never last.
Yeah.
But I was sort of like, it's boring, and
it's
it's for geeks, and it's for this,
it is
right?
boring, yeah.
Well, the truth is, if I had just paid attention in that one class,
Yep.
you'd have had the keys to the world there, right? That's how far back I go.
Yeah. The keys to the world.
Yeah.
That's deep. Advice for aspiring golfers, because like you said, it's not for everyone. People see it as whatever, but then some people do have the interest, but then it is very difficult in the beginning.
It is. It's a very difficult, frustrating sport, particularly in the beginning, because it looks so simple, right? Especially, most people...
Watching a pro.
Yeah, most people's exposure to golf is watching it on TV, and those guys, they just make it look so easy. And it's not that easy, right? I've been playing a long time now. I don't get out as much as I like to, and I made the the mistake. So my advice to people who want to get into golf is take a lesson. Like, just take a first introductory lesson. So you can learn the basics, because there's just some sort of simple things that feel weird. How you grip the club properly, how you're moving how you're supposed to move your body in order to hit the ball solidly and efficiently and consistently. And just like anything else, if you don't build that sort of solid foundation first and get the fundamentals down, you're doomed. And that's why I'm still kind of feeling it, because I just refused to take a lesson. I was certain I was athletic enough, and just give me the club kind of thing, right? And the ball just sits there, it doesn't move, and you think, I just take this club and I hit it, right? I play baseball, I can do this. But there's so much that can go wrong.
Yeah.
And so, probably more important than any other sport, having a good, solid, fundamental understanding of what your body needs to do in order to strike the ball solid.
Yeah, makes sense.
I would say take a lesson and take your time getting into it. You're not gonna, you wouldn't take up basketball and say, well, I want to go play with, the guys in the NBA, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with golf. Like, you got to start here and kind of baby crawl and then walk and then jog and then run. So yeah, take the lesson.
I like it.
And take your time. And I guess the way they say it now is be kind to yourself.
Give yourself time.
Give yourself some grace. Because it's like, whenever you take the step, and they talk about the golf bug is a real thing, right? People get the bug.
Yeah.
Because when you do hit that ball right, which even if you're doing everything wrong, eventually there's going to be that time where
you'll accidentally hit it right.
Exactly. Right? What is that, the blind squirrel?
That's what it's called.
Right? So, because once you get that and you start to understand a little bit more about the golf, and almost everybody says this in the beginning, like, oh, golf is so boring, I'll never watch it on TV, it's terrible. But when you understand how to play and what it takes to play and play well and kind of think your way around the golf course, you start to watch it with a little more interest and understanding and saying, I see what they're doing.
Yeah.
I get it now.
You respect it more.
Yeah, exactly. And then of course it's going to be a lifelong thing, right? It is a game that people play from 5 years old till 90.
Yeah.
So you got time to get better, but it's going to take time.
Yeah. You have the time, but it'll take the time.
Yeah.
What are 3 things you need to be happy?
3 things I need to be happy?
Yep.
You mean in golf or just
in general?
In life?
In life. In golf.
3 things I need to be happy. Of course, my family and my family being happy. That's harmony in the home is important, and I need that to be happy. I need laughter in my life. It sounds sort of obvious. You say, of course, if you want to be happy, laughter helps.
Yeah.
But, I don't take things too seriously, or I try not to, and I try to hang around people who don't take things so seriously. So I would say laughter, my family, and then solid relationships, feeling like I'm on solid ground with the people who matter to me in my life.
Nice. I like that. Never heard those answers.
Is that right?
Great question. Great answers. Yeah, never heard those answers to that question. I like it. As you get older, what has become more important and less important?
Wow, look at you. You're just a little deeper. I thought we were just going to talk about like
golf and birth.
Golf and beer. Things that are more important to me and less important to me. Well, similar vein, more important is the relationships in my life. The older I get, the more I rely on past relationships. Like life keeps kind of going and going. I meet new people. I've met people up here even through XGolf, either from the franchise side or the customer side. They're fantastic people, but ultimately I still have friendships going back to high school that are, those are my closest friends, high school, college friendships. and keeping those relationships going, that's become more important to me. It's just sort of things roll on. Of course, living up to what I said before about my father and following his act and trying to make sure that when my son gets to be older, he kind of looks at me in the same way. Because he doesn't right now. But he's 13. He's 13. We got time.
He's becoming a man. It's
Yeah.
the hormones.
Yeah.
And it's tough years.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Middle school. Oof. But less important to me, probably, not to be flippant about it, but, what people think. When I was younger, I spent a lot of time worrying about what other people thought of me, and do they like me, and whether it's friendships or girlfriends or business or bosses, just looking at it, I spent too much time worrying about what they were thinking about me rather than focusing on being who I want to be, and then the people who you like and get along with would kind of see you for who you are, right? So it's less important to me now, people's opinions, right? And some I value very much, but in general, it's not just every Tom, Dick, and Harry, as they say, and whether they think you should do this or you should do that or you should have done. It's just, got other things to do and other people that I'm more committed to.
I agree. I like that. Absolutely. So how did XGolf come about? You heard about it, and then you wanted to you got interested and wanted to jump into it, or vice versa? You were looking for something and you found it.
Yeah, I had, like I said, I always wanted to do something entrepreneurial. I wanted to be my own boss. So XGolf kind of started as more of an investment idea. Hey, what can I do? Have my own business, but keep my job that I was working at. Because I just wanted to sort of scratch that itch, as they say. I had been seeing the golf simulator technology developing over the years, and I thought it's getting pretty good, and it's getting pretty fun. And there were some things popping up. Local bars would have one, or you'd go to a trade show and somebody would have a golf simulator. Wasn't quite there yet, and actually I thought I had some original idea, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool if you could have a place that had simulators, but also a bar and TVs where you can watch the game, sort of like a sports bar, golf type place. And so I actually started looking into it as a solo endeavor, like let me look and see what does a golf simulator cost, or can you even buy these things? And I found XGolf in my research. And I said, oh, look, these guys stole my idea.
These guys stole my idea.
These guys, yeah.
Thieves.
Like, oh, they're already doing it, right? So I started looking into XGolf. So what are they doing? And they were small at the time. They were a franchise, and they had stores open, but I think they only had about 15 or 16 stores. And as I looked into them more and more, I said, you know what? It's kind of strange, but maybe not with the way SEO works online and everything, that the first simulator place I found actually has the best technology, right? And they have this concept. And I do truly believe that. I believe this is the best golf simulator technology on the market for many, many reasons, but I just made the call. Like I literally, for franchise opportunities, call this number. And I called, and I spoke to them there, and had a chat and asked them about it. Talked about Westchester County, and I wanted to have the territory, and we had that conversation. This is going back, I'm going to say 2017 or 2018.
Wow.
Yeah, so then it was sort of back and forth. Is this really a viable idea, or is it just another one of, you're going to get up and go to work tomorrow and you're just going to keep doing it, but it's a nice little dream to have, right?
Yeah.
But I kept the conversation going, and I kept the idea going, and the more I thought about it, the more I looked into their franchise model and some of the ones that were open, I thought it was a great idea. And like I said, it was going to be sort of a smaller operation. It was going to be an investment. It was going to be set it up, hire somebody, a general manager to run it, and come in,
Come play when you want.
Come play when I want. Have a drink at the bar. Be the owner.
Everybody's high fiving.
Yeah, it's gonna be unbelievable.
Oh man.
And then I got educated on the commercial real estate market in Westchester and in New York in general, and sort of the business model. In order to make the numbers work, you needed more simulators, so you needed more space. And then my sort of search began, and as I looked at different places, I looked all over Westchester County, and I was looking for something just ultimately like this, but it's not easy because you got to have enough parking, you got to have high enough ceilings, you got to be able to get a liquor license. A lot went into it, but I kept it, just sort of slowly moving forward and slowly moving forward. Yeah, and then here we are, and it's come out just like I thought. It's exactly what I wanted. I built it to be a place that I would want to hang out with. Thank God, because I'm here an awful lot. But I thoroughly enjoy it here, and I enjoy meeting the people and swinging the clubs when I can, and having a drink when I can. So
yeah, it's nice.
Thanks.
It's like a large man cave kind of. Very nice. So I really thought they were helping you find a place. You had to find your own place.
Yeah, no, you have to. It's kind of, there's pros and cons with that, right?
Yeah.
No, they have their general theory is, and I tend to agree with it. Like, your market better than quote unquote we do corporate. So they're not going to tell you, hey, you got to open up here. It's probably different. It probably has something to do with, they're smaller franchise at the time. And it's easier for them, right, to tell a franchisee, like, yeah, you can do whatever, you can go find whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
But, they gave me plenty of guidance on, here's what they're paying per square foot here, and here's how much room you're going to really need, and, things like don't forget about the parking, right? Most of these, most XGolfs are not in a standalone building like this. They're in more of a, I don't know, lack of a better term, strip mall type place,
Yeah.
where there's a shopping center there, and it's shared parking. So you just have to be careful of where you're looking and what the specs are.
Earlier when you were talking about the bike, riding the bike or whatever, and you're jumping off little ramps and you're thinking you're the best in the world.
Yeah.
It made me think, nowadays with social media, kids don't even get that feeling because they see people doing better than them all day.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
That's
a
big change in society.
Yeah. It's an interesting thought. Yeah. When certainly when I was a kid, and I'm well ahead of you, I just found out. There was none of that. There was go out and make your own fun. There was no video games.
And you're the best.
I did have Atari. I did.
All right.
Space Invader kind of. You were doing this. This was video games when I was a kid. So now I watch my son
with the headset.
Oh yeah.
In real life.
Headset. He's on the microphone. He's on like a conference call. Right? I told him, why don't you get your bike out, set up a ramp, and jump over some paint cans? He'd be like, what? Why don't I just stay here and talk with my friends and shoot all these guys? Right?
That actually sounds more fun to a kid.
Right. Because I got to get a new skin.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, but no, kids didn't have really that any of that. You were just competing against your friends, right? Like, I jumped this many. Let's put another one on there, kind of thing. But yeah, I wonder how that would have went, because you look online and you say, what is this guy doing? He's doing.
Everybody's doing better than me.
Right? I saw a Red Bull commercial the other day. Guy went off a ramp and was doing backflips on his bike across a canyon, and I was like,
You're bragging about paint buckets.
yeah, right? And I was on the grass. Just come racing down my driveway, set up the ramp so that if you did crash, you crashed in the grass.
In grass.
Yeah.
Oh man, psychologically, yeah, these kids are going through something different.
Yeah, I mean, I guess but it also, I think, helps them, they can look at that and see the mark out there and like, oh, that's where I got to get to. I got work to do.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, right?
I got work to do.
Right.
Absolutely. What would be the best piece of advice you'd give your younger self?
My younger self?
Yeah.
How young?
Yeah, it could be last week or 10 years ago.
Well, I mean, as a kid, I would tell myself to be more confident in your ability. Like, you got it. You sort of got this, as they say nowadays. Because I think as a kid, I just didn't have... I had confidence in athletics, but not in school. Like, I never felt like I was there. I had an older brother who's very smart, and he did well in school, and I just always thought, all right, that's not going to be me. I'm going to be this guy. When the truth was, I had plenty of ability and could have done much better. So I would tell myself, sort of, be a little more confident and apply yourself a little more there. If we're talking younger me in my 20s, it would be, go for it. Like, stop.
Yeah.
You're doing something you don't want to be doing long term. So just stop it now and pursue what you want to pursue. Otherwise, you're going to end up in your mid-50s trying to get a business off the ground, sweating the mortgage payment. All right? So just do it now.
Just do it now. Stress now, less stress later. I like that. You seem to be, and you mentioned a little bit about it, how you surround yourself with people that are kind of like you, where everything's easy going, you don't stress too much. Where did that come from? Because that kind of seems like it's healthy mental health.
Yeah.
It's like a healthy way of seeing the world, surround yourself with people like you, and it makes things smoother.
Yeah. I think it just comes from my upbringing. We, Irish Catholics, we like to laugh, we like to tell a good story.
Oh, nice.
Humor is just always something that I've appreciated, and always, if you said, well, how do you want people to see you? I say, best thing you could say about me is he's funny.
There you go.
Oh, he's hysterical, right?
I like that.
I don't know that I am, but that's what I would say I want people to kind of take away with that. I like hanging out with that guy. He's funny, right? So I like to make people laugh. I like to feel like I'm putting them at ease with humor. But it's just always, and as a kid, I used to go for that, but probably didn't know the limitations so much. So it was a little more, hey, if all these guys are laughing because I'm picking on this kid, right? Like, let me just keep going, right? Not understanding the effect.
Yeah.
But it's good for a laugh, right?
Of course.
But I just always appreciated trying to be funny, and I appreciate funny people, from stand-up comedians to somebody I meet at a party,
What music was played in the house as a kid?
Wow. Wasn't a lot. We weren't a very musical family. We tried everything, right? Everybody played an instrument here and there, but nothing ever really stuck. And my parents were never big. They weren't hippies from the 60s or anything like that. But they had all the standards. I remember jumping around the living room to Kung Fu Fighting.
Nice, classic.
Any of the 33 albums they had. But mostly it would have come from me or my brother. Classic rock is what it's called now. It was just rock back then.
It was just rock.
It's just good old rock and roll back then, and now it's classic rock.
Oh man, that's hilarious. It was just rock back then. Hilarious.
You want another drink?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
This is the best part about owning the bar.
Oh man, it's incredible. If you could have any question answered, what would you ask? And even the day you're gonna die, or anything.
Anything. Wow. It's getting deep. Well, I don't want to bring the situation down, but I lost my mother when I was 20, and my father just recently. So I think the question would just be, am I doing okay in their eyes, right? Like if they're looking down. I don't want to say, are you proud of me, but am I doing it? Am I living up to it?
Yeah.
So.
That's deep. What do you think?
I'm trying. I'm trying.
I think you're doing good.
I try. Yeah, I mean, generally, yeah. I think just because of the guidance I got from them that I'm on the right path.
So if you're doing right by them, that means that they know you're doing right.
Right. But when you ask if you could have the question answered, I want a solid yes
or
or no.
I want them, not you, Fran. I want them, not you.
Yeah.
They answer.
Solid answer right here.
Thank you very much, my man.
Thanks.
If you had one law that everybody on Earth had to follow.
A law?
Yeah. One law everybody on Earth had to follow.
Oh, that's easy. That's you got to tell the truth.
I like that one.
I think that would solve a lot of problems.
That's 100% true.
Yeah, might cause some problems in the short term. But no, if there was a law that was inescapable and everybody's got to tell the truth.
I like that.
Clear up a lot of messes.
You have any regrets?
Yeah, a few. Nothing major. Nothing life altering. I regret not taking this shot earlier in life. Life-wise, that's probably the biggest regret I have. Just not trusting myself and having the confidence and saying, I guess, what do they say now? YOLO.
You only live once.
Yeah, you only live once. And, you got to be pursuing what makes you happy or what, gives you a reason to get up. And that's why ultimately I ended up leaving my corporate job just because I couldn't do it anymore. Like, it's just, I'm going to do this for another X amount of years. Like, right? It's now or never, right? Like, here we go. So.
What was it like at the other job? Was it like until retirement age, or was there a retirement time frame at the job?
Just your standard. It was a major corporation.
So it was like 30 years in, or?
Yeah, I had spent more than 30 years there total time, not all in the same job, obviously. I kind of worked my way up. There was, there's retirement, but it's out there at whatever. You can take it at 62 or you can go to 65 or whatever. I'm going to be 57 this month, and I left my job 1 year ago. So
you would have a long way to go still. Unhappy.
Yeah, and I stayed at it. It was a good job for a long time, and it was a good job even when I left, right? When you talk about what's a good job, it was secure, it was a good company, it was good benefits, I was making a decent salary. And yet there was nothing inside me that was like, hey, I can't wait to get to work. We're doing 100%. This now, or here's what's coming down the pike. It just started to become very, very repetitive, and just found myself on the MTA day after day, and here I am on the train, and if I leave now, I catch this train, and then I'm home by this time, and that just the standard grind that I swore I would never get into. I was into for a long time.
In too deep.
And, I thought, again, this was going to be sort of a side gig, that if I have this on the side, then maybe that'll kind of motivate me a little more that, hey, I got this. Now I can do my job, but I have this other thing that I'm proud of and that I can work on. But then ultimately, besides the amount of work it was taking to do this properly, I just liked it better. I liked the planning part of it. I liked, trying to figure out your numbers and, picturing how it's going to look and trying to make that a reality. Still a long way to go for all that, but I just found myself saying, I like doing this more than I like doing that. So let me just put all my chips over here. So whether it pays off, we'll see.
We'll see.
But, as my wife likes to keep encouraging me, God bless her, even if it fails, you still did it, right?
Absolutely.
Like you followed it, look what you've already accomplished. Kind of, she's very good with that. So
Good. That's awesome to have that type of support.
Yeah.
Definitely.
yeah,
And what about for the kids? You want to push them for college, or what do you think?
it's just I only have one son. He's 13. And another interesting fact: he calls this the most boring place in the world.
In the world.
In the world. I mean, part of it I understand because I was dragging him here when it was all, rubble and sawdust, and there was nothing to do. He had to come and sit here while I talked with contractors or met with this person or that person, and he had nothing to do. And now that it's actually up and live, he's not a golfer, and
He could care less.
He thinks I want him to play golf, and therefore he doesn't want to play golf. Just kind of the mindset of a 13-year-old boy.
Absolutely.
But we've gotten him over here. He's taken a few swings. He may get the bug. He may not. Truth be told, I don't care whether you play or not, Quinn. I think you should try it, though. It's fun. Yeah.
So what do you want for him? Go to college and do something like that? What do you think?
I just got to give you the standard stock answer. I want him to be happy. Like we talked about a little bit before. He's in middle school. Middle school is tough. It is. It's rough as you're. Like I talked about as a kid, not having the confidence and being worried about whether this person likes you or that person. Everything just seems. The be all end all day after day.
Oh yeah.
That you are unable to just see the future and that everything's going to be fine. So yeah, I want him to be happy. In my head, I picture him doing the, middle school, high school, off to college, out of college, pursuing, some job that he finds suitable. But I just see the world changing very fast.
Oh yeah.
And that was sort of my track. That's what people my age did. That of course. After high school, you go to college, and then after college, you get a job and you go to work. And you do all that. I don't know. There's, with all of the, particularly on the technology side, all the opportunity, all the changing landscape of what constitutes work. We saw a lot of that with COVID. That shifted everything with the work from home, and then when companies wanted you back, people started saying, "Oh, why do I want to go into an office 5 days a week?" Right? Like,
I don't want to go back.
And then just technology's already obviously disrupted workforce.
Absolutely.
The gig economy, and everybody trying to become a superstar on social media. Like us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So so I don't know that just that standard track of going high school, college, working world is going to be his path. I hope he just pursues something that he likes and enjoys, and I hope I can, not be the old man and go get a well-paying job,
get a real
with
job,
benefits, and it's kind of the experience of being an older father. Though I think I can relax a little bit and say, do what you like to do. Get some experience. Go out into the world and try. See what you like and what you don't like. I definitely wouldn't push him. Go get your accounting degree and get that job first, and then you can look for other things. Because once you get in that funnel, you
can't get out. It's hard to get out.
Difficult to get out.
Yeah. How about the goals with XGolf? What are your best case scenario with XGolf?
Listen, I mean, first and foremost, I just want it to be successful, right? I know. We don't want to lose the whole shebang, right? No, but I have big goals for XGolf as far as being involved in the community here in Westchester, supporting local businesses, doing a lot of business. We're a great space for other businesses to use for networking events, for corporate events, team building events, all that. So ultimately, I hope to be seen as that and just a fun place to be and a mainstay. I want to be here, and the lease goes a long time. So, I hope our clientele just builds and builds. And hey, the game's on tonight. Well, we're definitely going to watch it at XGolf kind of thing. And then bigger than that on business sense, you know, we're part of a franchise. And so, again, the competitive nature is sort of, I want to be up there at the top in, you know, in sales and revenue for the entire franchise community here. Because we're not close right now, but, you know, we're getting there. And it's a great community to be part of, this XGolf. You know, I have access to other people who have gone through their opening and their first year. And
Yeah, it makes it easier.
First 2 years, and, you know, how are you guys setting this up? And it's a great access to ideas and everything else, but then at the same time, you know, I want to take that knowledge and then beat them all.
Yeah. I like that. And how about overall life goals?
Life goals. Yeah, you know, I'm in the middle of it, right? I made this jump and I'm pursuing what I wanted to pursue and my dream and all that. So obviously I want to, in the end, be able to say this was successful. I was a successful entrepreneur. I was a successful business person, not just financially, but, you know, in the community. Westchester is a thriving business community. I joined a couple of organizations that, you know, are composed of business people, you know, to help. And it's an amazing resource, but it also is a huge eye-opener to how much business is done in Westchester, like from very small mom and pop things to, you know, huge corporations. And I'd like to be able to just kind of swim in that pond and at the end say, you know, come out the other side and have relationships with people and have knowledge that I can then pass on to either my son or other people looking to get into business.
Nice. I like it. We're near the end of the podcast. If you can let the people know where they can find you, I guess if you want to plug the social medias of XGolf, what do you have coming up? And any last advice you'd like to leave the people? You can even let the people know what you have going on here. A lot of people don't understand golf. A lot of people don't understand indoor golf, simulators, or any of this. So right. The floor is yours. Let the people hear it all.
All right. Well, we're XGolf Scarsdale. We are at 870 Central Park Avenue, right across from the Scarsdale Fort, corner Ardsley and Central Park. We've got 10 state-of-the-art simulators here. But probably the biggest thing I'd like to get across is you don't have to be a golfer to come in here. We are indoor golf with the best technology, but we're also a community sort of pub. We're a sports bar. We've got every simulator here has its own large screen TV, but we've also got 3 large screen TVs behind the bar. We've got a beautiful bar set up. As we're moving in here to the fall, actually, ironically enough, being in the golf business, our business sort of runs contrary to golf season. So as we move into fall and winter and you're looking for something to do indoors, give us a shot. We've got leagues coming up. We have a league night every Wednesday. We're always doing events. We're open for birthday parties, corporate events, as I mentioned before. There's a lot going on here. So come on in, check us out. Let us know if you got any questions.
And that's Instagram at XGolf Scarsdale.
XGolf Scarsdale. XGolf Scarsdale on Facebook as well.
TikTok and YouTube now.
TikTok and YouTube, thanks to my man Francisco.
You can find them anywhere.
Make me a star. Likes are good, shares are better.
There you go. Yeah, shares are better. I like that. Thank you very much for hosting here. Thank you for being a guest.
Thank you very much for coming over. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for the beer. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
We could do it again. We do a part 2 again. No problem. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Peace and love.